Good morning. Elyssa and I are here this morning on different ends of the country, so it's super early for me. The sun's just getting up. But we wanted to talk to you about a really special piece that we've done for many years. I think 14 years ago, wasn't it, Elyssa, that we first did this? So it's called Easter Morning Sunrise, and it's by a friend of ours named Debbie Fortnam, just an amazing pianist and singer and speaker, and we've had the privilege of working with her a few times. And on my end of the country, we actually get to work with her again quite closely for our Risen production. But we wanted to look at Easter Morning Sunrise, which is a piece of hers. So I choreographed this 14 years ago, and Debbie and I did it on 100 Huntley Street, and we're going to show that to you. You can probably see it up there somewhere. This is actually our first time trying to do this like weird little reaction video, so you can see how good, not good we are at it. We have like little like patchwork things going on here, but we're trying. We'll figure it out. So hopefully you can see the dance, and we're going to play that for you, the original one of Debbie and I doing that. And then Elyssa and I are going to just talk a little bit about storytelling and how this piece was choreographed. Because I choreographed it 14 years ago, but then Elyssa, you learned it. How old were you when you first learned this? Do you remember?
I was trying to remember that. I don't actually know.
I mean, sometime in your mid-teens, I think.
Yeah, because you taught it to me first when I was going to do my first solo performance at a church for Easter. And so, yeah, you taught it to me. It was like young teens. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that year I was maybe touring in BC, so you were going to be dancing Easter Morning Sunrise on Easter morning, and then I was going to be doing it also on Easter morning, just on opposite ends of the country.
Yeah.
So we were doing the same piece. So it's a really special piece for us. And then this year, when I had to go back and learn it again, because it had been a few years, I went onto YouTube because I knew that I had a copy of it there, so I needed to learn from myself again. And then I found out Elyssa had a copy of her doing it, and then to my great surprise I found a third copy. And Elyssa, do you want to tell us about that? Because Elyssa had taught it to one of her students who performed it last year, unbeknownst to me. So we're like third generation now. I feel old. We're third generation with this piece. Yeah, so Elyssa, what was it like to learn the piece and then teach it to one of your students as well?
I feel like you always you really go into a piece in depth when you learn it, but then I feel like when you're teaching, if you're trying to explain it, you get so much more out of it at the same time. So, yeah, we did it last year, and that was really cool. Kind of passing on everything that you experience with the piece, but then you also have to make it your own, each dancer in some.
For sure.
So that was really cool. Seeing her also take it and kind of make it her own. So yeah.
Yeah, so neat. And there's so much in this piece that you can grab onto and make your own, because I remember when I did it, one of the themes that stood out for me was the concept of asking God why. Why did this happen? So the dance is from the concept of Mary Magdalene, who's followed Jesus, fully believed in him, and then he was crucified. And at the beginning of this dance, she's just in this despair because he's dead, and she doesn't know what to do with that. So it's this whole internal conflict. I mean, she's traumatized. Crucifixion was horrible and awful. And then she's lost Jesus. So she's asking God why, and there's this anger and this frustration and despair. But then it moves, of course, from that into this moment where she sees Jesus and doesn't know what to do with that either, because he was dead and he is there very much alive now. So there's these moments in the dance where it almost is this mirror. So this moment of asking God why, and then there's this little mirror moment later in the dance of going back to that same point and this reconciliation with God. It's almost like I've got him staged in the back of the stage, just about. So these prayer moments are when she would go up to the back of the stage and be like this. But then that repeat again of, okay, I understand you were in control the whole time. How did you handle those little moments, those repeat moments? How did that kind of stand out for you? Was it a why
Yeah,
thing, or were there other moments that stood out?
yeah, similar. Like that moment that you're talking about was very much like questioning.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually, for the production, we had like a cross in the back. And
Oh,
so
that's so good.
when like those moments that she would like go to the back and really do that like movement that really asks why, it was really with like the gaze on the cross.
Mm,
And at first, like it's very much like she's just in kind of reliving the moment. But then later, like the cross is such a symbol for Christians of the victory over death.
mm.
And so, like going back in that moment as well, and having like that before her gaze when she's praying like that.
That's so cool. And see, I love watching how choreography shifts and develops over time because it's one thing starting out and then it goes into the hands of another choreographer, another dancer, and they get to add their own little thing. So I love that you've done that with the cross. Um, we're not doing that this time, but I've added a different aspect. So for the first time, this is moving from a solo to a group piece. So I have a whole bunch of girls touring with me, and towards the end, they all come in as the disciples. And it's this moment when Mary's like, he's alive, we see him. And then
Yeah,
they're able to turn their faces towards Jesus and enter into that same joy. So it's
yeah,
just such a fun, creative addition every time it gets redone.
yeah. I think actually we did that a little bit. I don't know if it's in the one that's recorded on YouTube, but we did like a little bit of that and added a few more dances just at the end when she like there's this moment where she like runs to tell the other disciples, like she meets Jesus and then she goes to tell the other disciples. And yeah, we added like a few more dances there too. I don't know if
Ah!
it's kind of recorded on YouTube or
No,
not, but
it's not on YouTube. So
it's
you've
not.
already done that. That's
That's so
awesome.
cool.
That's so cool. Sometimes I wonder if we have the same brain, so that's quite fun. Okay, let's watch the piece. And yeah, we might just make some comments as we look over it. See if I can do this technical thing. Here we go. So this is Easter Morning Sunrise, and this was when Debbie Fortnum and I did it on 100 Huntley Street, I think back in 2007, 2008. And that last moment there was always so hard to balance.
Yes.
You have to hold it for so long. We took that out for this year because we've got the group going. But I love the storytelling aspect in this. It was so much fun to choreograph, to go from the moment of despair to he's alive and this changes everything to I'm going to go and tell everybody. And that's really, it just really encapsulates the message of the gospel from beginning to end. So I love the piece. I love Debbie's music. I love dancing this piece. Do you have any more thoughts on dancing this, choreographing this, teaching this to other people? It's just been such a fun thing through the years.
Yeah, in the beginning there's like this kind of almost this hardness, I think. In like the choreography and attitude, there's like a lot of like clenched fists and like just very
I'm done with you.
Like internal struggle. And then I love the moment where she like goes to meet Jesus. It was always like just a few seconds in that moment, and like, but you rehearse it a lot to really try to convey that. It's very challenging, I think, to be like, how do you convey like seeing the risen Jesus?
Yeah, for the first time. It's like you have to feel it. I don't know about you. I always I feel it right in there. This moment of, oh my goodness, like you become the character.
Shock and panic and joy all at once.
Yeah.
And then after like there's this big like long kind of rejoicing part. And then I like the moment where she comes back to kneel at his feet, and receives like his heart for people. I think a kind of a picture of even what we do does like as a minister of the gospel to kind of spend that time with the Lord Jesus first, before going out to share it with people. So I think that moment's really beautiful.
Yeah, I love it too. That whole receiving his heart and then giving it away. Yeah, and you're right. Like it's a complete heart change from the beginning, that hardness, to I have something so precious and I want to just give it away.
Yeah, like a softening, I guess.
Yeah. It's such a picture of what Jesus does for us. So neat. All right. Well, I have loved talking about this together. It's been probably our longest standing piece, and so much fun to do over the years together and apart and with students, and I am so excited to do it again this year, live with Debbie and a bunch of other kids. It's going to be great. All right, thanks for watching. We hope we can see you at maybe one of the events this year. Bye.